subscribe to my channel.
Sir Wirt. I've been a SpongeBob SquarePants fan since 2007. This year is the 25th anniversary of the series, but also a 20th anniversary of the first movie. After watching it many times, I found out that it is a lot more intense than I remembered. Today's countdown will be the top 6 reasons why the SpongeBob SquarePants movie should be PG-13. Before you all think I'm doing it because I hate the movie, it's not. I actually really enjoyed the movie. Grab yourself a Krabby Patty or any favorite food. Let's begin, and I hope you enjoy the video. But also, for those who haven't seen this movie, there is a small amount of mild language in this movie, but I feel like it should be pointed out. Around the beginning of the movie, when SpongeBob thinks that he's the new Krusty Krab 2 manager, but it's actually Squidward, Mr. Krabs whispers to SpongeBob and calls him...
I'm making a complete butt of myself.
Some areas of this movie actually censored it on TV. Someone in the crowd called SpongeBob a ding-a-ling, which could be a slang for something else. King Neptune uses the term damning piece of evidence. I know it's not technically a swear word, but some parents would be bothered by this. One more thing to add, Plankton referred to SpongeBob as
"Oh yes, well done, SpongeBob."
In the song Goofy Goober Rock, you can hear SpongeBob say, "No, no freaking way." But on TV version, this is censored out. Not a whole lot of swears, but I feel like it was worth talking about. But this is low on the list, so let's move on. SpongeBob SquarePants doesn't shy away from crude or toilet humor. In fact, they can go beyond quite a bit. But there were a few instances in this movie that actually surprised me being in a kid's movie. First off, the beginning of the movie where SpongeBob looks at himself in the mirror, he accidentally flashes his butt and walks away embarrassed. Patrick is briefly nude twice in this movie. One time at his house, the other time is this. A butt flag? Really? I haven't even really seen PG-13 or R movies show stuff like this. I feel like it was very unnecessary and only sold the purpose of trying to make it look edgy. One scene also implies that Patrick pooped his pants.
Here you go. What?
Nothing.
There is a scene where he's in his underwear, but I will explain that later. Overall, the toilet humor is slightly less than the TV show, but still enough to be worth mentioned.
I would say SpongeBob SquarePants has a fair amount of innuendos that would go over kids' heads.
Hey look! Mr. Krabs put in a kitty ride!
Why don't you try it out?
I can't find the coin slot! Here it is!
That might lift the eyebrow to some parents. First off, SpongeBob is in the shower.
What are you doing in here?
I have to tell you something, Squidward.
Ever it is, can't it wait until we get to work?
There's no shower at work.
It's in a comical manner, but still seems sus. When Plankton pulls out his Plan Z out of the file cabinet, it is in the form of a centerfold like in naughty magazines. You could even hear jazzy music, and Plankton is even at awe plus sweating looking at the centerfold. Patrick in the Goofy Goober Rock segment wears naughty female stockings. They play for laughs, but still also kinda sus. SpongeBob even pulls down his shades in awe. Patrick has a thing for Princess Mindy and even calls her hot. Later in the movie, Patrick is in his underwear and asks if Mindy saw it.
Did you see my underwear?
No, Patrick.
Did you want to?
Kids movie! What makes matters worse is Mindy is 13 years old, while Patrick is implied to be in his mid or late 30s. Looks like Patrick Starr is sharing a cell with Ava Chris Tyson, who was on the Jeffrey Epstein list. Man, a lot of suggestive stuff in this movie seems to involve Patrick. One more thing to mention is that during the Goofy Goober Rock segment, SpongeBob does the infamous Michael Jackson crotch grab. I wouldn't say it is Who Framed Roger Rabbit level of naughty, but quite close. A fair amount for a PG film.
Do you like SML or plush videos in general? Check out me and my brother's channel named BanjoMan321. It is a comedy plus channel that is focused on the character from Banjo-Kazooie, Digital Circus, The Simpsons, and much more. Subscribe today. Be there or be bare.
SpongeBob SquarePants rarely talks about drugs and alcohol, but when they do, it is usually a joke like this.
I have to take my break!
In the beginning of the movie, SpongeBob and Patrick eat so much ice cream that they somehow get drunk. SpongeBob even has a 5 o'clock shadow, bloodshot eyes,
I've got something to say about Mr. Crab!
It may be a joke, but kids, eating a bunch of ice cream won't make you drunk. But it might give you diabetes, so eat moderately. One scene, SpongeBob and Patrick go into a bar to get their car key that was stolen, and you can see a couple of guys drinking. One guy faints holding a beer mug, implying that he had a hangover. The same guy that faints even has a smoke pipe in his mouth. This movie really has some interesting ways to show PG to PG-13 drugs and alcohol references. SpongeBob SquarePants doesn't shy away from having creepy and disturbing imagery, but this movie bumps it up to the max. Is it just me, or does Plankton just seem like nightmare fuel material in this movie over the top? Most frames of him in this movie would give kids nightmares. First off, he hired an assassin to stop SpongeBob and Patrick from saving the day. He uses his chum bucket helmets to mind control people, and it has that almost like Nightmare of the Living Dead feel to it when they start going after Squidward. You can really hear the terror of Squidward scream when he's about to get captured by the zombie fish people by Plankton. Also, the smile Plankton makes and laughter while they're capturing Squidward. Later on, Mindy shows SpongeBob and Patrick on what happened to Bikini Bottom after they left.
Things have gotten a lot worse since you left Bikini Bottom. Or should I say, Planktopolis.
No resting! This monument celebrating my glory isn't gonna build itself! Move faster!
Oh my gosh! Patrick, look! Plankton's turned everyone we know into slaves! Squidward, Sandy, Mrs. Tough, even Gary.
I guess Plankton wanted more than just to sell Krabby Patties. He took it to a whole new level. Which makes matters worse is that near the climax of the film, Plankton is so eager to see Mr. Krabs get murdered by King Neptune, and the slasher smile Plankton makes while it's about to happen is not helping much either. What makes this even more disturbing is the fact that in all of this, Mr. Krabs is still conscious despite being frozen. The fact that King Neptune wants to execute anyone that defies him, and wanting to kill Mr. Krabs thinking he stole his crown is really disturbing. It's kind of surprising that he hasn't executed his own daughter for interfering with his business, especially seeing the face Neptune makes when he's listening to that altered recording that's accusing Mr. Krabs of stealing the crown and selling it. And also, pretty much the entirety going through the monsters and stuff can be frightening for small children, especially to one of the monsters which I'll get to later. Overall, the scary imagery in this movie is almost borderline horror. The TV show has a good amount of cartoon violence and mild violence. The movie takes it up a whole new level with some twists and turns. But it does have some violence that I think could push the boundaries. Plankton gets stepped on twice in the movie. The first time, SpongeBob was even smearing his shoes after he stepped on Plankton, which is kinda gross. And then, around the end of the movie, gets stomped on by a bunch of people, even leaving foot marks and shoe marks. SpongeBob and Patrick walk into the bar to get their key back since the car was stolen. You see two guys punching each other over and over. It gets even worse. They drive into and walk into a road of skulls. Despite this, SpongeBob and Patrick don't even notice it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute! SpongeBob!
Yeah?
Make mine a chocolate!
Got you covered.
While SpongeBob is trying to get ice cream for him and Patrick from an old lady, this happens.
Okay, Patrick, you can let go now. What kind of old lady are you?
Then later, once SpongeBob and Patrick get captured by a Cyclops, he tries to dry them up to death and it works.
Goofy! 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 Goofy!
If you think about it, it's almost like a form of animal cruelty. But later on, luckily, their tears saved the day in the end.
Hey, we're alive!
Pretty much the entirety of Dennis's character is quite terrifying. His literal purpose is to assassinate SpongeBob and Patrick. Dennis rips off the lips of these two hillbillies because they were laughing at him.
Hey, mister! Does that hat take 10 gallons?
And you can even see some weird liquid on their face after he did it. Dennis then later comically punches Victor into oblivion, which is played for laughs mostly. Then it shows Dennis on his motorcycle driving through the same schoolyard where SpongeBob and Patrick went through. He grabs his empty skull, then crushes it with his hand. Then once Dennis catches up with SpongeBob and Patrick, he has these boots shooting spikes out of his feet to step on them. After that, he gets stepped on by the Cyclops. Later on, he returns and tries to assassinate them again, looking all beaten up. But of course, still struggling. At one point, on top of David Hasselhoff, he stabs him.
I can eat it back there, fellas.
SpongeBob accidentally shoots bubbles at Dennis's face. You can see his eyes are in tears plus bloodshot. Well, Dennis was about to do the final blow on SpongeBob and Patrick. He gets hit by a catamaran off screen.
See ya!
Where in the game, it actually shows him getting hit by it. The death is not even comical, he just straight up gets hit. Unless Captain's Pipsqueak isn't canon, or at least it happened before the first movie chronologically, then it's safe to say that Dennis died. This makes Dennis even a more terrifying character considering he's played by someone
who got away with murder on set. I'd have to say, even though there's a lot of cartoon violence in this movie, but the movie's violence overall could be intense to some and too many. I feel like just the amount of skulls they saw in the graveyard, I'm kind of surprised they didn't jump it at least PG-13. All this what I'm saying in the video about the film is mostly just my opinion. It's not factual. I'm just saying what I feel like stuff in this movie that could pass for PG-13 today. But at the same time, this was the era where I felt like PG actually meant something back then. Nowadays, the MPAA and Hollywood will make anything rated PG just because... I think the factors that would not make this movie ever re-rated to PG-13 is because 1. The movie's already 20 years old. 2. I don't think Nickelodeon and Paramount would want to market a PG-13 SpongeBob movie. But one thing for sure, the movie took risks and it worked. A very, very, very intense movie. In my top 50 favorite animated films ever, it would definitely be in there. I really hope the 4th movie lives up to expectations of the 1st and 2nd movie. What would be the odds of the 4th movie being PG-13? Probably very little. But always, I hope you enjoyed my silly little video about thinking why this SpongeBob movie should be PG-13. I plan to make more videos like this with other movies, but do it as one video with multiple entries. Apologies if the video is really lengthy. I just felt like there was a lot to say about this movie. With that being said, I'll see you all in the next video, and cue the outro.